Noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And this is CarEdge Live for Thursday, July 31st, payday right here, with your hosts, me, Ray, and, well, my rather good-looking son, Zach. How are you today, handsome?
I'm doing fantastic, folks. Last day of the month, last day of July. If we can help you out with anything, please check it out, caredge.com. Today is the last day of our 30% off sale. Again, folks, my 30th birthday was a little over a week ago on July 22nd. And so in response to that, I love our team. They are giving 30% off CarEdge Insights and 30% off our car buying services, the largest promotion we have ever done until next year when I turn 31, and you can probably get 31% off. Or if you're like my dad, he's going to wait till my 40th to take advantage of the 40% off promotion in about a decade.
Or perhaps when I turn 75 next May. Well, who knows, ladies and gentlemen?
Who knows? Dad, the big story this morning,
Indeed.
Carvana shocking the auto industry yet again. And quite frankly, at this point, Dad, I think we got to own up to it. We were wrong. Carvana continues to grow market share, sell more vehicles, and skyrocket in terms of their valuation. They are growing in an unprecedented way, selling more used cars than anyone else. They've done it again, another quarter of record-setting growth over at Carvana. We're going to talk about their quarterly earnings, and then we're going to really transition the conversation to, should you buy a car from Carvana? And if you do, just understand what you're getting into. But we'll start here, Dad. The earnings. We are shocked, correct?
Wait, I'm trying to come up with my shock face. It is, listen, what was it, 2.5, 3 years ago? They were so close to not being around anymore. And it wasn't just me or CarEdge.
I just want to let you know that the air conditioning is down.
No shit, Dale.
Dad. My dad is currently getting a message through his intercom system at his apartment, and he's frustrated because every single person in his apartment building knows that at 12 p.m. Eastern, he does a live stream here on YouTube, and they decided, even though he's communicated this, do a message. He's very frustrated. Deep breath. Ready? We're going to do a deep breath together. Ready, Dad? 3 in, 1 out. Ready?
No, I'm good. The air conditioner doesn't work. They hope to have the air conditioning repair people here at 2, and the whole damn world knows about it. Okay, back to Carvana. It wasn't just us who were suspecting that they were going to go out of business when, I don't know, their shares were trading at like $2. Yeah. And now they're up to, I think before trading started day, $388. They have made a remarkable comeback. It's a pretty amazing comeback, and when you dig deeply into the numbers, this was a business, a company that for the longest period of time had one profitable quarter in their history, and they at one time were losing billions of dollars. They had some of that debt forgiven, and They have since turned it around, and I believe in this quarter they made, what was it, $308 million in profit? Is that what it was?
Yep.
What a good memory. And so that's pretty remarkable. The number of cars that they're selling, they had a record. They sold 143,000 cars this quarter. They own 1.5% of the used car market space, and 1% overall of the auto market, and 1% might not sound like a lot, but this is a company that at the rate they're going, they could sell 600, 700,000 cars this year, which is phenomenal, especially when we get down deep into the article where their average gross profit per vehicle sold is $7,426. But that includes profit from the F&I portion of it, the loan portion of it, that they count that profit the moment they write the loan as opposed to as the payments come in.
But I want to actually hone in on this, because if you told someone walking down the street, anyone walking down the street, if you went up to them and you asked them, how much money do you think a used car dealer makes when they sell a $20,000 car? I don't think many people would say they're making $7,500. We know car dealers make money selling cars, but
Yes.
we don't think they're making that much money. Carvana has bucked that trend because they are really a finance company. The
Yes.
company Drive Time is a part of Carvana, or has a close relationship at least, and it comes from the same family heritage, the Garcias. And so Drive Time is this subprime financing corporation that is unbelievably profitable. Today, we actually get Credit Acceptance Corporation's quarterly earnings data after hours, and we'll be talking about that tomorrow. Another major subprime lender. They make a boatload of money on the financing, on the lending, and then to your point, Dad, when they sell these asset-backed securities, they're then able to report all sorts of profitability associated with it. And we've had the folks at Carvana, we've had conversations with them. They've reached out, they've tried to help us understand their business model and how they do things there. This number, however, $7,426 a car, is insanity. No other automaker, or excuse me, no other dealership is even close. And Dad, we can look back at some of these other big publicly traded dealer groups. They've made acquisitions into the finance and insurance space. I'm trying to remember which group it was. I think they bought like Larry H. Miller. Was it Lithia that bought Larry H. Miller
It
Group?
was either Lithia or Asbury, one of the two.
So one of these major public dealer groups bought another dealer group, and one of the reasons they bought the dealer group was because it had a captive financing capability. And so to a degree here, Carvana has demonstrated a playbook that is not only a brand that is positioned as, thank you, Jerry, it was Asbury. Asbury acquired them. Not only has Carvana demonstrated a playbook, which is a brand can go out there and differentiate themselves. Carvana is just a car dealer, but they're branded differently and consumers are choosing it. And then there's an operating playbook here as well, which is owning the finance and insurance capability makes them so profitable. They're even able to still pay up to just buy cars from people, yet still make tons of money because of the financing and the insurance. And most people, Dad, I think, are not taking outside financing to Carvana. They're going to Carvana. They're getting an approval. And we've looked at their data before. I mean, what was it? You had to be making at least like $400 a month or something.
It was
like
$96 a week.
If you, the thing I'm quoting right now is there was research that was done that showed you had to be making $100 a week in order to get an approval for a car loan.
You could qualify for a loan
from Carvana.
Yeah.
That scares the poop out of us. But you know what? It's making them boatloads of money.
Well, here's the reality of the situation. Their profit is based on being a loan originator, and they just happen to use automobiles as the vehicle in order to create a loan. So, you know, the automobile, the cars are just their way of being able to get somebody into a loan that they control. And so that, and you know, it's I have wondered many times about how they do it all, but apparently they have figured out a way. They have figured out the secret sauce, and what the secret sauce is to me is that it's one price. You know what the price is. They will arrange the loan for you. You come in and pick up the car, or they deliver it to you. And there's no back and forth. There's no anything. There's no friction. And you just got yourself a car. And so that system for them and for CarMax works. It just absolutely works.
Go to Carvana's website. What is the subheading? Right car, right price. That's the heading. Financing made easy. Like, guys, you do not have to look that far to see that this is a finance company that's making a ton of money. And to your point, Dad, they found a way to use cars as the, no pun intended, vehicle to place loans. We're going to spend more time on Carvana here, and we're actually going to look at, is there a good value if you choose to purchase or sell a vehicle to Carvana? But before we do, Dad, let's take a moment and thank the sponsor of today's program, a company that you have had the privilege of working with, a company called Chapter.
Yes, for those of you of a certain age, Medicare age, ladies and gentlemen, well, guess what? Most folks do sign up for Medicare supplemental insurance because, well, Medicare doesn't cover everything, and the supplemental insurance helps to cover that gap between what Medicare covers and what you would be responsible for. And Chapter bless their hearts, they're out there figuring out where you can get the best possible rates for your Medicare supplemental insurance. I have Supplement G. They saved me $91 a month on my premium. Coverage is exactly the same, just, well, $91 a month less than what I was paying before. So I would encourage anybody of that certain age to pick up the phone, call 557-207-0445 and speak to the good folks at Chapter, because they'll be able to figure out a way to help save you money. Or if you prefer to use the interwebs, go to askchapter.org/CarEdge to learn more about how Chapter can put more bucks in your pocket, ladies and gentlemen.
We appreciate Chapter's continued sponsorship of the program. Give them a call, see if they can help. Pops, let's turn our attention to see if Carvana represents a good value for those that are in the market for a used car right now. So we've already covered that they have record-setting sales growth in terms of vehicles sold and record-setting gross profit per unit, $7,426.
Can we put that in the perspective?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, CarMax, which is the largest purveyor of used cars in the United States, I believe their average gross profit per used vehicle sold is somewhere around $2,200 to $2,400. Carvana is $5,000 more. So it's either they're booking the profit from the loans faster than, say, CarMax is, or they're really charging a poop ton of money for the cars they're selling. Now, we're going to look at some of the prices and see if it's the case of it's a poop ton of money that they charge for the car, or it's a poop ton of money that they're making from the financing side of things.
So let's go to CarEdge.com/shop, and we're looking at used cars. I still have my zip code into our old zip code when we were living in Scottsdale, Arizona. And Dad, we're just going to find a random vehicle here that we want to do a little cross shopping between a local franchise car dealership and Carvana. So I don't know. Tell me, is there a particular make or model of vehicle you're interested in looking at?
I don't care. You just pick a vehicle.
All right, let's not do Infinities. Infinities are struggling so much. Let's do this. How about this Honda HR-V right here?
Okay, yeah, Honda HR-V.
Honda HR-V sounds good to me. So this car dealership has had this Honda HR-V, let's see, for 15 days. So this is fresh on the lot. Okay, they just got this vehicle. They're advertising it at $22,997 right now. And Dad, this is a, yep.
I was going to say, how many miles are on it?
Let's see. It's got 47,000 miles on it.
Okay, so it's a 2020 HR-V Touring. With 47,000 miles on it.
So we're going to come over here, and we're going to do Honda HR-V Touring. Got to make sure I'm a human, which I am.
Ooh, you are indeed. Yeah.
All right, so we've got Honda HR-V Touring, under 50,000 miles. That's great. Those are only 2019s. Let's see here. I'm going to change my zip code. We're going to go out to Arizona.
Okay.
We've got one. It's a 2019.
Okay.
And let's look at this. And this is what's so interesting about Carvana. Look at that. You see that red badge right there, Dad? It says purchase in progress. Well, so someone's actually buying this car evidently right now, but we're simply going to look at this from a comparison standpoint. I'm not actually buying this car, just going to look at it. So this is one model year older.
Yes.
And it's got a little bit more mileage,
3,000 miles more. Okay.
Yeah, it's got 3,000 more miles on it as compared to our 2020 over here. Now, the price that this dealership's asking is $22,997. If I go down to pricing info,
yes,
I can see here the out-the-door price when they add the dock fee, sales tax, etc., probably come in somewhere around $24,000. But let's not even worry about tax or anything right now. Just the dock fee. That's the one thing we know this vehicle is going to get hit with. So the actual price is $22,997. CarEdge is saying that the target price is $21,387. But we just know that there's going to be a dock fee on top of it here. My initial reaction, Dad, is that these two vehicles are priced pretty much identically. This one is $300 cheaper, $400 cheaper.
Yeah, but it's a year older.
But it's a year older and has 3,000 more miles on it.
Yes. So they're priced comparably, except, well, the one that's a year older should be priced considerably less than the one that's a year younger. So you can see that Carvana's pricing, which is non-negotiable. Okay, so somebody's looking at that and they go, okay, I can get a 2019, but here's the key. They can get me approved for that loan. We have no idea what the loan terms are, what the interest rate is, but I guarantee you that is where Carvana is really making their money. And yes, at $22,590 for that vehicle, it is priced higher than it probably should be compared to comparable vehicles in the area. But the reason customers go there in droves is that's the price. Fill out the information for the loan. We'll get you approved. We'll ship the car to you, or you can come to us and pick it up. And it is painless. It is frictionless. Maybe it's not painless in the sense that how much you're going to be paying back for that car or how much you initially have agreed to pay for that car. But they have taken the friction out of the transaction, which is why more and more people go and use Carvana or CarMax, because they would rather pay a little more than have to deal with all the stuff that we talk about on a daily basis that takes place at dealerships around the country.
And just to put it into perspective, while you were sharing your take, Dad, this 2019 Honda HR-V with 50,000 miles on it, touring, 22,590 miles on it. I came over here to the CarEdge car search, and I've gone to just that specific vehicle that we're looking at. Here's one. There's only 35 of them for sale nationwide, 2019s, but $20,000 price. And we know the doc fee in California is capped at $85.
$85,
at least for the time being, 49,000 miles on it. So it does seem, we're just doing a data point of one, and I encourage everyone to do their own research when they are buying a used vehicle, because in many cases, Carvana may represent a good value to you if you do not want to deal with a dealership. Because again, they've rebranded themselves. They are a car dealer. They are a car dealership. They've rebranded themselves in ways that work really, really well. But you can see here, again, I'll scroll down, $19,999 as compared to $22,590 for the same car.
Yes, and so it's a $2,500 swing. But what resonates with the people out there, whether they be shopping at Carvana or they're shopping at CarMax, is the ease of doing business. There were 143,000 people in the second quarter that bought a vehicle from Carvana. More than that, we will find out, we'll have purchased a vehicle from CarMax, because CarMax sells more cars nationally than Carvana does. So let's say at CarMax, just to pick a number, say it was 200,000. There were 350,000 used car buyers in the second quarter of this year that have agreed to pay a higher price simply for the ease of doing business. Now, if those numbers don't speak to dealerships as to why they should change their sales practices, I don't know what will. Okay, because there were 350,000 potential customers that conventional car dealerships lost because of how they operate through bait and switch and heavy pressure sales tactics. And that number is only going to continue to grow. And then factor in how many people buy new Teslas because there's no BS associated with it. You go online, you can complete a transaction for a Tesla in 10 minutes. Okay. You try and do that. We do it all the time. Try and do that at a conventional dealership. 10 minutes, it's more like 10 years.
Friendly reminder, folks, we do have all sorts of tools to help you if you want to get the best deal and not deal with all of that back and forth. One thing in particular, the CarEdge AI Negotiator is out there. You can go on the CarEdge car search, click negotiate this for me, and your own alias, email alias, and phone number will contact a dealership. All responses then come back to your dashboard on CarEdge.com. You can even see which dealers are being unresponsive and which ones are getting back to you, and keep track of all of your deals in one place while you're at work, while you're working out, while you're hanging out with your kids. your AI agent will contact dealers on your behalf and negotiate the best deal. So we're trying our best to help the industry move forward as well. Dad, let's switch gears away from Carvana. Again, congratulations to the folks at Carvana. They got a hell of a lot richer overnight. They are doing some things right. Let's acknowledge Matthew's comment here. And then let's look at a company that's struggling a little bit more. And one of those automakers that reported earnings as well. From Matthew, thank you, Matthew. Ray, you should have bought an American car because per Hammond in Chinese business special, when Americans build a car, we first build air conditioning and then the car around it. I feel like there's something in there that I'm not getting, but thank you, Matthew, as always.
Well, maybe because I don't have air conditioning in my apartment today.
Oh.
Okay, but we will. The good folks from the air conditioning company are supposed to be here at 2. Meanwhile, everybody and may I say, I'm 74, but I think I'm a young 74.
You look great for 74.
Well, I don't know about that, but I do think I'm a young 74. I am probably one of the younger people that live here in this building. So the likelihood of some of my fellow condo owners here like melting until the air conditioning company gets here, there could be some issues.
From Chris, Dad, we didn't spend a moment on this, and I think we should. On the flip side, is it better to sell a used car to Carvana or CarMax or trade it into a dealer when buying another car? I think universally, and we're going to spend a moment on this, universally, doing the due diligence of getting quotes from everyone is your best bet possible. Yes. Even private party is an option if you're willing to put up with the work associated with it. So go on caredge.com/sell, get an offer there. Go to Carvana, get an offer there. Call your local dealer up and get an offer from them. It's easier than ever before.
Don't ever be afraid to just go into dealerships in your area. Maybe not where you want to buy a car, but just go into the dealership and say, hey, I have a nice used car. It's an extra car. I'm just thinking of selling it. Could you give me an offer for my vehicle if I were to sell it to you, a written offer? And then I'll figure out who I'm going to sell it to. And that way, so it's not just Carvana, it's not just CarMax. I mean, a lot of dealerships out there understand that it is cheaper for them to buy used inventory at their door than at the auction. So you could be surprised at the type of offer you get, especially if it's a higher volume dealership when it comes to the sale of used cars.
And Dad, I'm just going to pull it up on the screen. I went to ChatGPT and I just asked it, how can I sell my car and get the most money possible? I mean, I don't know if this is going to show up for everyone, but mine tells you to use CarEdge. So I don't know, folks. Go to CarEdge, use our resources, make sure you do your research. And then I want to pull up here from Daniel. I think this is a great point. Comparing a dealer's internet price to Carvana is a bit misleading when the dealer has $2,000 worth of fees. They'll spring on you as soon as you sit down to discuss numbers. Daniel, I think that's spot on. We all know that reaching out to dealerships, you run the risk of them when you ask for the out-the-door price, adding all sorts of BS fees. There's all the negotiations that typically go on that we obviously coach people through. So I think that's a really valid point. And we're doing some work, Dad, now that we have the AI negotiator out there, which has contacted more than 5,000 dealerships in the 2 weeks since we launched it. All the out-the-door price quotes that we're getting back, folks, all that data is going into our database in an organized way. We are working on updated pages. It'll take us a little bit of time. Updated dealer pages on our website that will tell you which dealers typically add add-ons, which add-ons, and for how much. So thank you to everyone that is using the AI negotiator. You're giving us the capacity to capture this data. And then to Daniel's point, start to put red flags on dealers that typically add $2,000 in fees, and then reward the dealers who don't and advertise honest prices. So great point, Daniel. And we're doing our work here in the community that's using the agent is helping us to capture more data. I'm so excited for that work. Phil, thank you for spearheading our efforts there.
Yes, the fact that when I email you, I'm going to get AI to answer your emails on your behalf. It's just so thrilling and exciting to me.
That's like the least. I appreciate your sarcasm, but it's really compelling what we're doing. No one has data on which dealerships add fees and which dealers don't, and what they typically add and how much. Phil and the team is spearheading the project to actually bring that information to light.
No,
So I hear you tongue in cheek about AI, but this is a really cool practical application of bringing transparency to the car industry.
No, absolutely it is, and to have that ability to spell that out for people is will be excellent moving forward. Yeah, but you know me, I'm just a sarcastic whatever.
Give
And I apologize for that.
Give Phil some love in the chat, folks. He deserves it. He's been doing a bunch of work, and the team behind the scenes building out all of the AI stuff. Really, really cool. But give Phil some love in the chat, Dad.
Yes.
There is another company, publicly traded company, that reported earnings, and they were not nearly as high-flying as Carvana. Ford lost $36 million in Q2 as tariffs and recall costs mount. So what's going on over at Ford? Is there anything new here, or is this just a continuation of the story we've been talking about?
Is there anything new here? No, not really. You know what? There's nothing new here. They have had quality issues. They have had recall issues. They have had to set aside more money to cover the cost of these recalls, that it's severely starting to impact their profits. Now, we do know that Ford has a boatload of cash on hand, and they did secure a $3 billion line of credit prior to releasing their sales numbers for the second quarter. And so, you know, that $36 million loss in quarter two is like nothing, you know, compared to where they have been and where they are. Their issues remain the same, primarily quality issues.
Yeah.
You know, and their corporate spin is, oh, we're just trying to catch the stuff faster than we did in the past, and we're trying to help our customers out, and we're doing it sooner rather than later. Just do it before you sell the damn cars. Okay, what are the other manufacturers doing?
To put into context, this is this year's recall by manufacturer. Ford's up to 93 recalls, which is a record for a full calendar year, and obviously it's July 31st. Next on the list is Forest River, the recreational vehicle company, and then Chrysler FCA with 21 recalls. So, you know, the next closest automaker has, what is that, almost a quarter as many recalls as Ford does this year.
And here's the real key. The previous record for the total number of recalls in a year was by General Motors.
Yep.
And the record was 74 recalls in a calendar year. They are at 93 recalls through 7 months. You know, extrapolate it out. This is a record that's never going to be broken. This is like a LeBron James moment. Okay. But this is the wrong type of record. And so it's costing them. And, you know, their sales were up, but yet the cost of recalls and the associated tariff costs are swung the company from a profit perspective to a losing perspective in the second quarter.
Now, if I may, Dad, there's actually some overlap between what we saw with Carvana and what we saw with Ford. And what I mean by that is, you can see it's right above our heads, and I'll highlight it here. Ford Credit posted second quarter earnings of $645 million, 88% more than the same period a year ago. So it's not only car dealers that can have financing capabilities, it's also the automakers. This is where you see 0% financing, 0.9% financing, things like that. One of the big bright spots, there are a few bright spots in Ford's earnings, but one of the big bright spots here is the same bright spot over at Carvana. Their finance capability made 88% more money year over year, and $645 million ain't no small thing, man. That's a heck of a lot of money that Ford Credit made. And again, that's where Carvana, we're suggesting, is making most of their profits are on financing. So some interesting connections here between Ford's earnings report and Carvana's.
Yes, so all they need to do is figure out how to make an additional $36 million in the finance side of things, and it'll even things up for them. But yes, I get your point, and the point is that even the manufacturers have had captive lenders for years. They have realized for years that there's money to be made on the financing of vehicles, and you know, no pun intended, but the vehicle to get that loan are car sales and truck sales. And so it's not so much the profit they're trying to make per car sold, it's the profit they're trying to make on per car financed. And Ford has done a great job of that over the years, and they've figured out how to do an even better job in the second quarter when the profits were up 88%.
And I think maybe that has something to do. Two thoughts here. One is this was the quarter where Ford introduced employee pricing for all and cut back significantly on their incentives. So they spent fewer dollars on finance incentives and things like that. And they had increased sales because they were offering employee pricing. So that's an interesting tidbit that could influence their strategy moving forward. And the other tactical and practical thing for our community, Dad, this should reinforce why it is so important to come in with a pre-approval for your own financing.
Yes.
Buying and negotiating the car and all of the research and due diligence you do there to get the best price possible on a newer used car kind of goes out the window when you go to round 2 in the finance office. Okay, coming in with a pre-approval, or if you're paying cash, holding that information close to your chest and then sharing it after you negotiate the out-the-door price of the car you're purchasing. All this finance profit just continues to reinforce to me, Dad, the importance of communicating to our community and to all consumers out there. You need to have a pre-approval. Google search outside financing for a car space CarEdge, and our resources will show up. It is critically important. That's what this data says to me.
Well, I'll share an experience from having been in retail automotive.
Yeah.
And dealerships out here everywhere will recognize this. On the sales side of things, the salesperson and the sales managers are struggling to close the customer in a payment range that the customer is comfortable with. And oftentimes that song and dance can take hours to finally get to an acceptable payment where the customer might say, you get it down to $485 a month, I'm it. Now, I'm in, I'll buy the car, and the dealership might have started at $650 a month. Okay. And they get it down to the $485. At that point, once the customer says yes, something materially changes in their brain. And when they go into the F&I office, after having spent several hours negotiating to get to a $485 a month payment, they walk out of the F&I office with a $590 a month payment, okay, because they have bought all types of protection packages. Customers suddenly lower the defenses in many cases when they get into the finance office, and when they wouldn't go a penny above $485, they certainly will go $105 a month more than $485. So as a consumer, if you are really stuck on a budgeted number, you have to stick to your guns even when you're in the finance and insurance office. You have to understand that psychologically the walls come down once you've agreed to a deal, and then suddenly you find yourself more amenable to agreeing to things that you wouldn't have prior to that.
And you shouldn't do that. I just want to reinforce at the end of that. And don't do that is the point we're trying to make. Dad, let's come here to the chat. Mark, appreciate the kind contribution.
Thank you, Mark.
Always Matthew as well. Appreciate Matthew. Ford Credit has always floated the blue oval anchor, which I think is a good point. One more comment here on Ford's earnings, Dad. The Ford Pro division, which is their commercial division, is actually the division that brought in $2.3 billion in profits. That's actually down 10%, but still the cash cow of their business. Gasoline engine vehicles made $661 million in the quarter, down 43%. It's interesting to see how big of a decline they had there. And then Model E, their electric vehicle business, actually increased their losses to $1.3 billion. So it's fascinating to see the dynamics of this storied automaker continue to evolve here. And these quarterly earnings are obviously a moment that we can peek into that black box and see what's going on there. Ford dealer inventories continue to rise too. So should be prime time for some good deals here for consumers. Again, friendly reminder, folks, if we can help you with anything, check it out back at CarEdge.com. We are running, it's literally the last day, 30% off, okay? It's CarEdge Insights and our car buying services. Take advantage of that back at CarEdge.com. And if you're interested in taking advantage of the brand new AI Negotiator, which is still brand new, over the next couple of weeks and months, it'll get stronger, better, faster, all those things. You can use that back on the CarEdge car search. Just come to CarEdge.com, click on Shop New or Shop Used. And if we can help you out with anything, We really, really, really do wake up every day, us and about the other 50 people that work here at CarEdge, doing our best to support back on the website, community forum, etc. So we appreciate everyone tuning in, and we hope that we've added some value to your day.
We have, whether they realize it or not. Whether you realize it or not, we have brought value to you today.
I love that, Dad. All right, folks. Well, we'll be back tomorrow with more CarEdge Live. We've got a fun show in store because Credit Acceptance Corporation will have released their earnings by tonight. So I'm very interested to review those and then talk about what's going on in the subprime auto lending space. I'm sure there'll be some interesting data in there. So tune in for that tomorrow. And Dad, I hope you get your air conditioning fixed soon so that you're not too hot and sweaty.
Well, I do know that the air works well in my car. So I could be going for a ride. I don't know. We shall find out.
Enjoy, Dad. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Absolutely. Love you, handsome. I'll talk to you later.
Love you too.